the first time since the pandemic began, High-Level Week at the United Nations is essentially back to normal, with leaders and foreign ministers flocking to New York City from all over the world. The only leader to have been granted permission to appear before the General Assembly virtually is Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, and Russia's invasion of his country will dominate many of the talks taking place here, including in a meeting today between Australia's Foreign Minister and her Ukrainian counterpart. Dmytro Kuleba used that meeting with Penny Wong to thank her in person for what he described as Australia's unwavering support. But he also requested more Bushmasters. These are Australian-made military vehicles that are in high demand in Ukraine. Penny Wong would only say after that meeting that more support can always be provided, but she wouldn't specify what that might look like. And she had this to say about the conflict more broadly.
War in Europe has cast a shadow over this meeting of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and we ought not be so taken up by the events of the day that we don't understand and mark what a historic, in a very bad way, what an historic backdrop this is.
The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres used his opening remarks to reflect on the situation in Ukraine, but he also stressed that, in his view, there are many other pressing global issues that warrant urgent attention. He issued a pretty dire assessment of a number of those issues, including climate change, increasing cost of living pressures, and also food insecurity.
People are hurting, with the most vulnerable suffering the most. The United Nations Charter and the ideals it represents are in jeopardy. We have a duty to act, and yet we are gridlocked in colossal global dysfunction.
Penny Wong is expected to address the General Assembly towards the end of this week, and in between now and then she has a series of meetings lined up, including, most notably, we expect, a meeting with her Chinese counterpart. This would be the second time that she has sat down with Wang Yi in the past 3 months. Their first meeting in Bali in July was the highest level engagement between Australia and China after a lengthy diplomatic freeze under the previous Australian government. So this is a sign that Beijing is willing to continue those high-level talks. Penny Wong has said that those details are still being worked through, so we don't know at this stage exactly when that meeting will take place, but confirmation from the minister that she does expect to sit down with her Chinese counterpart on the sidelines here.